One morning at school, Shun Takahata whines that his life is downright boring, even going so far as beckoning God to give him something better to do. However, he suddenly finds himself forced to participate in a game of Daruma-san ga koronda, with death as the penalty for losing. A student has already died, losing their head in the process. The Daruma turns to the blackboard, but when it turns towards the students, any sudden movements will result in the Daruma bursting a student's head. Their blood becomes red beads that can make other students slip, which will force them to move. A pile of bodies is starting to build up on the classroom floor, making it harder for everyone to move. When the Daruma doll turns toward the blackboard, it exposes a button on its back. Students can try to press to end the game before their timer runs out. Some students try to escape the classroom, only for the Daruma to catch them in motion, killing 3 more students. One of the students, Sataki, tried to play the game confidently. He remembers stealing games with Shun, knowing where the dead cameras are located inside the shop. He deduces that they can try and reach for the button, but several students try, only to fail. The red marbles make it harder to get the button, while the Daruma is always ready to turn around quickly. As more students die, only Shun and Sataki live. As Shun and Sataki work together, Shun successfully presses the button, only for Sataki to die because he did not press the button on time. We return to a time before the game, where Shun continues to play violent video games, spending his time playing Resident Evil 6. He's unwilling to help at home, even spending most of his time watching TV. He talks to Sataki, who tells him to try going out with Ichika Akamoto. Ichika is Shun's childhood friend, so he's uninterested in going out with her. Regardless, Sataki reminds him that she will not be around forever, telling him to make a move. At school, Shun sees a delinquent defeating multiple students in a brawl. Shun starts falling asleep during class when his teacher's head explodes into red marbles, with the Daruma beginning the game. Back to the present, Shun regrets his wish from God, asking for his boring life to return. After the game, Ichika finds Shun inside his bloody classroom, herself a victim of the weird death games. She participated in another Daruma-san ga koronda, but she was closest to the Daruma this time. As she pressed the button, this inadvertently resulted in all her classmates dying instantly. The two are confused about what's happening, with the Daruma calling them mice, saying that the cat is coming. The two try to flee, but all that exists are bolted in. Even the glass windows are impenetrable, allowing them to reach the gym. They see several students wearing mice costumes, with many ready to work together. A little later, a gigantic Maneki Nico comes out of the floor, eating one of the students. The cat starts eating and killing those wearing mice costumes. The game relies on students attempting to throw a bell into a hoop attached to the collar of a giant beckoning cat while trying not to be eaten or crushed. Most students are too busy escaping, but the school basketball club star, Yoshikawa Haruhiko, is ready to shoot. As he gets a perfect aim at the hoop, the cat intercepts it, killing Haruhiko with the bell and sending him flying across the gym. The cat continues to kill everyone wearing the mice costume. As everyone removes the costumes, the cat starts to eat everyone rampantly, not differentiating between bait and shooters. The cat attacks more rampantly, but Shun wears the outfit, making himself the new bait. While wearing the costume, he somehow hears what the cat wants, with both Shun and Ichika starting to scratch the cat's back. As it falls asleep, they prepare to shoot the bell, only for everyone to get greedy, wanting to hit the bell themselves to ensure they win. The argument wakes the cat up, killing more students. Now, Shun and Ichika try to conceal the bell inside the broken basketball skin, hoping to give themselves a fighting chance. They shoot both balls, with Shun successfully getting the shot off but missing the hoop entirely. As he loses hope, Takeru Amaya wins the game with a clutch dunk. Amaya kills all other students himself, reveling in the opportunity to see so many deaths. Amaya believes that he and Shun are of the same kin, ready to leave out those not chosen by God. Shun is ready to fight Amaya as he tries to kill Ichika, but the three are then put out of consciousness by a sleeping gas released by the giant beckoning cat. Meanwhile, news of the massive terrorist attack reports the event is happening worldwide, with reports that deaths have reached the tens of millions. A gigantic white cube flies over Japan as the world is worried about losing an entire generation of youth. The cube flies over Tokyo, only to realize that students are imprisoned inside it. Students all over Japan and elsewhere in the world face similar tests, and a handful of survivors are being brought inside walls. The police start to mobilize and stop the impending danger, with the JSDF and National Guard surrounding Tokyo Tower. In a TV show, Todd Okura, a professor from Tokyo University, discredits the terrorist theory, calling the entire process an alien invasion, with the survivors called Sons of God online. A homeless man tries to help his fellow homeless, trying to listen to the situation at hand. Takumi, a hikikomori or shut-in, tries to do further research about these Sons of God. Meanwhile, Shun wakes up, seeing Shoko Takase with him in a room. They haven't met since 3 years ago, but now they're paired together inside the giant white cube. They try to figure out the situation, but to no avail. In the same room, they're stuck with Mikanori Tera, a genius, and Yumi Tauka, a girl who likes to keep to herself. Shun realizes that everyone in the room have their surnames starting with the same syllable, eventually realizing that Ichika is stuck with Amaya. Shun tries to get out of the room, but to no avail. Tera activates a screen, showing news from the outside world. He asks him to wait and be ready to play the game, with Tera more than happy to get rid of everyone else. The next game is Kagome Kagome, where the students have to be blindfolded and will guess which of 4 floating Kokeshi wooden dolls is behind them within 10 seconds after the end of a short song. Tera is excited to play, putting on the blindfold and trying to figure out the family members. As he plays, he guesses wrong with the Kokeshi dolls shooting a red laser on his forehead. The dolls then use telekinesis to destroy his body, continuously making him smack his head on the floor until it fully liquefies. Tauka is next to play, who agrees only after being threatened by the Kokeshi. She times up, leading to the wooden dolls using telekinesis to split her in half from the bottom up. This terrifies Shun and Shoko, slowly breaking their spirit. The Kokeshi dolls pick Shoko to play next, but Shun volunteers to save her. Shun uses their voices to track their position, recording their voices to trick one of them into talking. By remembering their positions relative to each other, Shun finds out that Kenichi is behind him. The process makes the Kokeshi explode, with one of them releasing a key that opens the doors and frees the students to the next level. Shun and Shoko go out of the room, eventually saving Yukio Sanada from being killed by a 5th Kokeshi by holding their hands. Shun sees a mug handle pendant as they hold hands, reminding him of a time on the rooftop. During this time, Shun breaks mugs to burn time, giving a cup to Shoko to vent her frustrations. Shun inadvertently saves her from killing herself, keeping the first mug's handle as a memento. Shun and the others hear a scream, only to see the 5th Kokeshi harass Ichika. He saves her in the nick of time, seeing Shoko there with him. The 4 join Eiji Oku and Kotaro Maeda to the next level, where they have to use their keys to unlock a giant smiling head. Amaya brings in 3 more keys with him, killing a prisoner he got into the room. The 7 survivors use their keys, and the giant head rolls away to dig a tunnel into the next room. The head asks them to change their clothes, giving back their personal effects. Meanwhile, people outside the queue are making a big fuss, with the Sons of God having their faces shown online and on TV. The players are led to a frozen room, where a snowboarding polar bear visits them. The polar bear drops a big fish in front of them, asking them to play Shirokuma, where the students have to answer the white bear's questions honestly. If someone is lying, they will be forced to single out the one they suspect to be lying to be killed. The polar bear asks them their favorite food, and everyone answers realistically. However, the bear detects a liar, asking for their head. Yukio gets voted the liar first, who the bear pounds to a literal pulp. The next question asks if they love Shun, where the answers become apparent. The strangers say no, while Amaya answers yes. Among the girls, Ichika and Shoko say yes. Shun says no to himself, saying he never liked himself. The bear detects another liar, but they figure that someone is truly lying within the group this time. The others eventually gang up on Shoko, voting her out and killing her. As Shoko dies, Shun realizes she was telling the truth, learning that the bear is the true liar, as its white paint melts off from Shoko's warm blood, revealing the bear's black color. The bear goes on a rampage, eventually piercing the ice on the hot spring and melting off his color. This kills the black demon bear, and therefore wins the game, surviving with the other 4 students. Outside the queue, people are starting a stampede, looking to reach the white queue. Shun and the others find themselves in a land of eternal sunset, waiting for the next game. One of them realizes that the games are interconnected through shiratori or wordplay, with the next match using the last syllable of the previous game. The first game, Daruma, is followed by Moniki Nikko, followed by Kokeshi, and finally followed by Shirokuma. A matryoshka Vidal presents the final game with a similar premise to kick the can that must be completed before sundown. The remaining 5 each pick a stick, and who gets the red one plays the devil. Whoever's face is seen and gets called out by the devil is caught and thrown into his cell. Kicking the can in the middle will make it explode, killing nearby players. As they draw lots, Amaya gets the red stick, making him the game's demon. Everyone tries to hide, so Amaya immediately goes to work, kicking a matryoshka Vidal to dislodge the can without climbing. As soon as he puts down the can, Amaya immediately catches Eiji and Kotaro, putting them into the dungeon. Amaya gets to work looking for Shun and Ichika, catching Ichika in no time at all. Shun gets to run away, moving around to find a way to save the others. Amaya tries to convince Shun that he's ready to win with him, confident that God chooses them. Meanwhile, Ichika uses reverse psychology on Shun, asking him to stay concealed, never to trust what Amaya is saying. As Shun springs to action, he finds a Templar armor to hide his face. Shun prepares to lure Amaya into the battlements near the sea, chaining Amaya with him. Shun realizes the meaning of life in the face of death, pulling both of them to the sea. Amaya fights to pull the armor up to avoid being pulled down, but Shun climbs back up, entirely freeing himself from the armor. Both race towards the can, with Shun successfully kicking the can first, thereby winning the game for everyone. The matryoshka Vidals reveal that the explosion is a lie, saying that none of them will be killed by losing the game. Fireworks light up the sky, and the group enjoys a popsicle party together, learning their fates on the wooden stick. Shun asks Ichika out once everything ends, enjoying the fruits of their labor. They find out that Shun and Amaya will live while Ichika, Eiji, and Kotaro will die as they win, all due to luck. The matryoshka Vidal shoots the 3 with lasers, disintegrating them into dust. Shun and Amaya emerge at the top of the queue as the grand champions. They see crowds cheer for them, hailing them sons of God. Meanwhile, Takeru, the hikikomori, goes out of his house, possibly to find the real identity of God. Amaya celebrates while Shun despairs, stating there is no God. One of the matryoshka dolls answers him back, telling him the games will lead to God, revealing that the homeless vagrant observing from afar was the god of the death games.